In a world where shadows weave, lies are easier to believe. They whisper soft, they whisper sweet, offering comfort in deceit. Truth stands naked, cold and stark, its path lit by a flickering spark. Yet lies dance in a masquerade, in bright attire, they're unafraid. They promise gold, they promise dreams. Truth reveals its harder schemes. A soothing tale, a pretty lie, is a gentle lullaby. Truth demands a courage rare, to face its flare, to strip it bare. But lies, they coat the world in ease. They play the tune that hearts appease. We grasp the lies, they fit our mold. They shield us from the harsh and cold. To face the truth, to brave the light, is to confront the endless night. Yet in this dance, this grand charade, remember how the shadows fade. For truth, though hard, will set you free, while lies chain you in misery. So, seek the truth within the maze, beyond the comfort of the haze. For though the lie is easier to face, the truth holds the final grace. What really happened to Dame?
This poem was found on an Imgur link, hidden in a YouTube channel description. A description of a little YouTube channel called Me, My Brother, and Him. After my video on Andrew Gaming 67, many of you recommended this ARG as the next one I should cover. And as much as I want to, I also really wanted to do this one ARG. But I intend that to be my next one. There's just so many Minecraft ARGs, I need to break them up for myself. Starting even from the profile picture and channel banner of this ARG, it's of a forest, which is kinda weird. Then there's the description of the channel that says, "We do Let's Play with my family. I record my two children's playing their favorite game on their very own world." This description has some odd grammar, and shows a basis of what this channel is trying to display. And I just wanted to say, the videos and community posts and everything about this channel is really weird. Before we start analyzing the first video, I'd like to give a special thank you to Deshy for reaching out and letting me know about the Google Slides that them and their team on the Retro Gaming Now Discord have created. I will also have all of their other people show up on the investigator slide later. I'll list all their names later as a final thank you. But to avoid the intro being more needlessly long, let's dive right in. The first video on the channel is titled, My First Minecraft Let's Play with My Brother. The description is completely in binary, but thanks to my handy-dandy cheat slides, translates in base 2 to, this isn't a normal Let's Play. Please leave this video, do not watch it. Well, that's not ominous. This is an odd video, and the audio is this really high-pitched trap beat? I'll play a snippet of it. Yeah, weird. The video starts in a small wooden house. There are binary signs on the left and a weird black and white figure standing in the middle of the room. The recording player takes out a book and quill, and someone named F joins the game. The book and quill is opened, and it has a portion written by him stating, "I always loved how they played." A recorder then writes under me saying, "Hello, how are you doing?" The recorder passes the book to the other figures, the screen glitches, and then we get a picture of the forest in the user's profile picture that says, "Me and he." As this image briefly flashes, it changes to a different soundtrack, like some slightly upbeat chorus. The recorder gets the book back, and under you, it says, "How is the weather?" The recorder gets the book back and types "me" again and waits. Then the footage speeds up a bit and they start inputting random text. The recorder gives the book back and F types in chat, "Do many vacationers access the song?" The black and white figure moves to the corner and starts to write. The recorder then struggles to go through the door and it turns to night before they get out. They start to chop a tree, and at exactly 44 seconds for only one frame a message appears stating, "They never left our world." While the recorder's chopping wood, we see the black and white figure appear and give the book back. Under you, it states, "What about what you know the F said on how?" The recorder says, under me, "He shouldn't bother kids like us." The other figure leaves behind a piece of gravel and walks back into the house. The player struggles to walk into the house again and then hands the book back. Also at around 2:40, there's a sign that says, "Dad World." The player goes outside, crafts wood, and then it turns to day. The player goes back inside, and eventually the two players start jumping while against the wall for seemingly no reason. The other player had to put the book in the furnace, and the recorder takes it out. You. What are us here in the house of the biggest mouse? Then in chat, F types in all caps, do not use the furnace. While the recorder types, me, look, I made our garden. This garden that the recorder shows is 2 oak planks with a 2x1 hole, kind of mimicking a grave. Then the black and white figure tries to walk outside. The video glitches and the words, "Bring us salvation," appears on screen. After a brief pause, the video is normal and the recorder keeps jumping in the grave hole while the other figure passes the book back. You, a slender entity, does not lose weight abnormally. This was the most well-written message so far. Odd. Then the recorder types, me, a train who trained regularly always has a trained body. The player then makes another grave-looking hole, passes the book, and it turns to night. The player makes an axe and starts to walk away. Then the music cuts and we get normal Minecraft sounds. After going a short ways away, the recorder turns back and runs home and the music restarts. The black and white figure enters the house after the recorder and the book says, "You." Shall we continue what F tells us to do? We're in danger. We use the furnace. Then the recorder types, me. F will not be happy. We use this furnace. Sad face. The black and white figure had disappeared and the video glitches, then the last screen says, "I am deeply sorry. My brother had to leave." There's also a comment by the creator with an Imgur link that says, "Dame, what is this piece of paper you gave me?" "It's my project, Dad." What does it even mean? What is freeze? You can go ask Jay for help. Jay? Yes, he's right here. These messages will be very important for later, but it's not helpful at the moment as we don't really know any of that yet. There's also a description on Imgur that says, "Evil lie, pain, help." So, that first video has eaten up literally 2 pages of the script. Interesting. The next video is titled, "Those Two Tried to Steal From My Chest," and has a description stating, "After my house got teleported once again in that cursed world, it ended up near them, and they stole my loot. So I made the footage public so that F can see it all." This video, it's not at all how it went. Something edited it. Who even wrote that description? I don't understand. Above that portion is an unlisted video titled, "I Can't Find My Brother," but we'll look at that later. It starts in the house with no binary signs. The player has an actual skin and walks outside to see another player with a different skin too. There are also more trees than last time. The recorder opens the book, but there is more than the last time. On the 4th page after the message from the previous video, it states, "You, I hope the sentence will not be huge like the other time when horse went the other way." Me, I hope there won't be a sentence. The recorder starts on page 5 stating, "Me, bro, our last ARG was bad. We can't cover anything with that." This statement is in more comprehensible English, and we can assume that these 2 players are the same from the last time, but out of character. We can also see in the backgrounds more progress of the nether portal. It starts to rain while the recorder waits. The recorder gets the book back and it says, "You, Lamau, I mean, Jay told us that the video didn't do well." The recorder thinks for a second and responds with, "Me, yep, it went pretty badly. Jay told us to record again for strange events, so I'm recording right now. I'll send him the footage later, alright?" Our recorder starts cutting a birch tree and we can see their full skin while they craft. It's some king or prince skin, very different from the default Steve of last time. After a little bit, the recorder gets the book back and says, "Alright. Oh, and by the way, I want to steal some stuff from Jay. Is it possible to cut the footage where we steal his stuff?" Then me responds with how he isn't the one editing and how it's not like Jay will mind. But how are we going to find his house in a bugged world? After passing the book off, the recorder starts replacing glass in the house with wood. Then you responds with, "I don't know. Let's go to the house to see if it's even possible." Then me responds with how Jay's house keeps changing like all of the time. After a bit, you responds with how that must be why horse 15 can't be found. Then me says that nothing is nowhere to be found. You know? After a bit, you says, "I want to keep denying that. I don't want to live in a world like that." Something is bugging out in this world, and these guys don't even want to try acknowledging it. But what's happening? I will break the immersion a bit and say that these first 2 episodes are really slow, but they do have stuff that's important later. Me later types that no one would want to live or to be stuck in this world. Then they realize some iron leggings are missing. Me then wants to go back to the mine, so hands off the book, but realizes there's an oak log in the spruce tree. Trying to mine it leads to a glitch. Going into the mine, they find Jay's house that has a sign saying, "You, don't steal again or you'll regret it." The house is black and pink striped wool along with cherry blossom wood. The recorder walks in and starts looking in the chests. Then the other player seems to have gone missing. Then, after leaving the house, the other player comes out of the room he was very clearly not in a moment ago. The other brother gives the book, and our recorder has a hard time choosing who he wants to write as shifting between me, him, his, or you. He finally writes as him instead of me, stating that he did steal. Then the next time the recorder signs as he, asking, "Where are you now?" As he leaves, the song Burning Memory, or Heartaches if you want to be picky about it, starts to play on a Minecraft note block rendition as our recorder blocks off the tunnel the other player was in. Once the recorder is out of the mine, they find a large iron pillar and take a block as they look back. Well, that was, bizarre. I actually really love that rendition of Heartaches. I don't know why the note block version of it felt so different. But now we should move on to the secret video. It's an unlisted video called I Can't Find My Brother. It's only 8 seconds, and pretty obvious that it's just someone lost in the desert, presumably one of the two characters, likely the one that went missing for a few brief moments. The next video is titled Record 03-2013 with a description of finishing building my house with my brothers. Since this is 2013, this video is much older than the first two, considering the first two had to be at least on the 1.20 update. The video starts with the recorder building a wood house, then running from a skeleton. We can see a player on what looks like an odd patch of ice. The other is in water. Everyone has Steveskins, and the other two seem to be staring at the night sky, presumably the moon. The video then badly glitches to a rainbow distortion. In the slides, some people have guessed that this section on the left is Morse code. I decided to check that out and put it in, and personally I got, "We got reunite after being frozen." That was the translation I got, and I hadn't noticed if someone else translated it, but I put it on the slide so I could remember. Who is Our is the next video with a description of, "This is the very first Minecraft video that I recorded. This is assumedly the same world as last time, but rather the start of the world." The recorder starts the video and sees the two other Steveskin players, probably the brothers from last time, Vodkaski T and Vocular. They start walking and then stumble upon a chest with a book and quill in it, underneath a red rose. They take the book and rebury the chest. In the book, the recorder types hello under me. Then you says let's build a house, and me agrees. Weirdly, there is also a jungle tree among these oak trees in the plains. Something is clearly wrong with the generation, if this is the same world that had the ice on the plains beach. After a while, Vodkaski T goes down to the beach and sees the ice, just staring at it. The same pig that had also been there in the last video is still there. I didn't mention it, but there was one. Vocular and the recorder continue as usual and then head back to the forest where Vodkaski seems to be normal again. Opening the book inverts the color on our screen and the player types under Our. Then they go under that and type me, first typing what happened to, then deletes it and says they need to build the house quickly. Closing the book makes the colors normal again. After a bit of building, the video ends. The next video is My Brothers Got Corrupted, with a description of, it is a very old video. Music, basic Minecraft, music from the background, editor F. And some binary text that translates to, they were never real anyway. The video starts with whom I assume is Vocular staring at the moon as eerie tones play in the background. Vodkaski T then starts to move out, but also stares at the moon. Then our recorder stares at the moon while we hear a screeching noise. After a few moments, the recorder snaps out of it and picks up the book. The last message was about pigs, and this new message says, you are, but then it cuts and the book is passed on to Vocular. The recorder goes to build up more of the house, but then they look back and Vodkaski is gone. The recorder finds him on the beach as Vocular moves 2 blocks. Eventually, the brothers finish making the house, and the book is passed to the recorder, but cuts before we can see the second page, and the video ends. An interesting point I'd like to make. The Who is Our video claim it was the first, but the state of the house in that video was near finished. Here is the beginning of that world and the building of that house. So, is someone lying? Or were these not the same recorders? So before we go into the next video, I'd like to redirect to the slides. On the Ideas and Theories slide for the video, they recognize a word in the bottom left corner at 033 called Frozen. This has some information that, with the way I write these scripts, I don't understand yet. But apparently the date is important regarding Dame and the mother. The other two brothers are Victor and Alex. Somehow the freeze thing is corrupting the world. We'll see if that makes sense later. The next video is titled Frozen with this code in the description. The code is in base 16, a code base commonly used by computers to store data in smaller package sizes. I would explain the base numbering system, but all you need to know for now is that each letter and number are assigned to a value, and all the letter-number combinations you see on screen align with a symbol or letter. It translates to this: Father, why have you forsaken us? You bought us a game that we could never play while living. Why have you forsaken us? Well, let's look at the video before we make any assumptions. The video starts with, "Do many vacationers access the song?" with weird audio in the background. Apparently there are two tracks. The song that is apparently lost media is called I Need a Mean Looking Girl, and a sped up voice. The voice says, "Frozen, frozen, we are frozen, frozen, frozen in a game. We stand frozen, frozen, frozen for eternity, frozen, frozen, frozen in time. We are frozen, frozen, frozen after being forced to be frozen, 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 frozen for and beyond, frozen, 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 and we are frozen, 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 we stand frozen, frozen, frozen." There is one segment that is too jungled to be heard. Personally, my guess is frozen for infinity and beyond, but it is completely covered by the song portion. Interestingly, the investigative team found a Reddit post on Lost Wave about the song saying that Shazam didn't recognize it, and the publisher does not say where they found it or when. That post was made by a Timur Vodkaski. Sound familiar? Well, anyway, we need to move on for now. The next video is titled Original, with a description of, "Don't worry, I'll keep you as you were before." Editor F, Publisher F, Note from F, "It's been 11 years and I still do the same mistake when I try to screenshot. I mean, look at the bottom left, even my sons wouldn't do that." Binary code, and lastly, Dad couldn't have made that video. In fact, none of the video could have been made by him. We think. Weird description. The binary code, when translated through base 16, comes out to, "How funny would it be if Dad made another mistake while taking a screenshot and he actually screened our core..." It seems to be cut off. My guess is that the end of that word is PSES. Doesn't help that the image has 3 black figures in the middle of it. The video is relatively non-unique until the end, when at some point a car comes on screen and crashes into the 3 figures, making a horrific noise at the bottom left of the screen in white faded text. "Sorry, son." Well, that was dark. In the comments, the creator says, "Now count with me." Many of the investigators commented numbers, and on the 5th comment, the creator said how the 5th comment must contain the death date, giving us 5/3/13. This was the date of death they gathered from a different video, the one from 2013. The next video is, "I'm sorry." The description states, "It's a video that I asked my friend to make. It was fun. The good old times. Sometimes makes me nostalgic. Too bad he's gone." Under that are a mixture of hexadecimal codes from binary to other bases. The last part of it says, "Dad, I know it. The world time doesn't match the time where it really occurred. You edited the truth, making him seem like a crazy man. I don't remember writing any of that." Weird. So it looks like we have different people writing in the descriptions. Switching back and forth from base 2 to base 16, we can have that block of code translated to, "Father, why are you acting like Jay? Why are you editing his last trace? He was gone the moment he went underground. Yet you proudly standing like a knight in shining armor, taking his place and try to act like he was alive." I don't know what that last part means, but I think it might be acting alive. This video starts in a sparse house where the player has a book that seems less like a point of contact and more like a diary. "I feel watch," or more like it's strange. "I feel cold. I feel frozen. I don't really understand." Well, anyway, it's strange that Fred gave me a Minecraft world even though I don't really play much. He told me it was for a test or something. The loss of his kids must have really affected him. Well, anyway, you are a friend of Fred, right? He asked me to record and send the video to you. I don't know why a random Minecraft video would help you in any way, but I'll always help those in need. Well, still, it has been just 1 week since the loss. I don't understand why he wants me to play a video game. I don't know who you are, but, well, here's my Let's Play on our survival world that Fred asked. Above the door are 2 signs that say, "For those who perished." Going outside, the recorder finds a bunch of roses and a cobblestone bridge with signs. The signs say, "Hey Jay, thanks for coming. Sorry. The floating house at the end of the bridge was destroyed. I wanted you to see it. I really needed you to see it." After reading the message, the recorder goes backward and opens the book. Looks quickly, then writes in the book how they swear they saw a name tag. The slide says that the name tag appears at 56 seconds, but I didn't see it on my small screen. They then say how they're in a survival world, not multiplayer. After scaling the mountain and walking away, they write there's luckily no monsters. After a bit, they write again. Fred was a really good friend. I wish I could help him. Then a little bit later, they open the book and the screen inverts colors. They struggle to type how they might as well build a house, then the colors go back to normal after closing it, later commenting how the one already built sucked.
After chopping a tree, the player gets the advancement, which thoroughly confuses them. They write how it doesn't really make sense that they just got the achievement, especially considering the house was wood and the player still has their stuff in their inventory. That is, unless Fred didn't build his house. All of a sudden, the recorder sees light on the mountain. It's fire. The fire isn't going out on its own, so they try to put it out. While trying to put the fire out, a fast block breaking noise can be heard as well. The recorder continues to look around on the peak as they hear fast block breaking again. Then the recorder digs into the mountain to find coal, in an odd little deposit that looks like some stone had already been mined out. Then there's a cut to standing in front of some cobblestone as the recorder leaves the hole. After a while, they seem to get spooked and block themselves in cobblestone too. They write how they hope the viewer just saw what they just saw. They struggle to describe it, but it says it seems familiar. Then, after leaving the cobblestone tube, the recorder notices it is raining. After taking down their cobblestone, a block of lit netherrack can be seen on the bridge while the rain is still up. There seems to be what looks like a door behind it too. With heavy caution, the recorder approaches the bridge. You can see the silverfish that spawned in a place of a now missing support section of the bridge. While looking at the screen, the scene changes to this odd inverted scene with a timer and odd noises. After a brief moment, the video goes dark, but back to a different Minecraft world where the player exits to a title screen. Then we see a menu with 4 worlds still open in 2024. The player reappears where we just saw in the darker world with rain sounds. Then we see them dig out a hole with disc 11 and a book and quill in their inventory. Some other stuff too, like netherrack and a single rose. But that's all the important stuff. After putting their armor back on, they leave the hole and we see this in the same world. The recorder keeps trying to save and exit to seemingly change the world. Then the recorder types in chat, why were they using the book in the first place? After placing down the flower and looking up, the video comes to an abrupt end. That was weird. And I'd like to note some comments made by the investigation slides. It says at 4:40, the player, Fred pretending to be Jay, another segment at 4:15 says, it's probably to tell us that he built the house with his other persona. Don't forget that Fred has a personality disorder. And lastly, a comment saying, 6:27, I pooped my pants. Riveting note-taking. The next video is Minecraft walkthrough. The description saying it was played by someone very disturbed, but don't worry, he's fine. He even helped us to make our next video, a hide and seek between brothers. The video starts with a notebook. On the right side is binary, which I'll get to in a moment, and on the left side is odd diagram and text. It's clearly about the human brain and the Freeze project and how it is groundbreaking creation. Then the recorder tries to turn the page, in which the screen glitches and we go to the Minecraft world. The player holding roses and ice. The footage is very glitchy and has odd noises in the background as it plays. It kind of sounds like one of KK's creepy songs from Animal Crossing. If you know, you know. The sun goes down very quickly and the player starts making sporadic movements as the moon goes up and making weird patterns in their inventory, like having roses surrounded by ice in their inventory. Then they pile ice up around them and hide themselves. They stay still until they see the moon, then the video ends. The very last frame asking, why were you trying to leave? I need to rely on the slides for this next part of the mystery. Apparently the investigators were approached by 2 people named They're Coming, and Jay could be the answer. They're Coming gave an unlisted YouTube link named Are They Coming? The second only sent the message 5. Apparently that's relevant because it helped with finding that one death date. However, going back to the beginning of the video, translating that binary code, we get KVUBFWYLRBI. Which, yeah, not helpful. But it is actually the end of a YouTube link bringing us to an unlisted secret video.
This is secret video 2, according to the slides, as they consider the Desert Brother POV on this first video secret. But don't label it as such in the slides. As of writing this, but as of recording, they did fix that. Yes, I'll make these little small remarks throughout, and the video is titled 2 Persons, 1 Body with no description. The video starts in front of a hedge maze named the Maze of Horror, as said on a sign. The 2 players in Steve skins look and crouch, one being named J301, the other named Fred428, as seen when they used the chat box. We're recording from Fred's perspective, and they say how they will be recording the most famous Minecraft horror map. After walking through the maze a bit, Fred asks how life is for Jay, and he responds with how it's the same as usual. Jay asks what about him, and he starts to write my wife when it glitches to him saying the kids are nice. Jay asks about him buying them Minecraft, and Fred notes how being friends since childhood, it's easy to tell he's not English. He says how he plans on buying it for them next week. The screen goes inverted as he says it'd be for their birthdays, but he struggles to type it. The screen goes back to normal, and they eventually keep walking through the maze. Eventually he sees something while through a bush, and he fixates on it. It vaguely looks like an eye of a player, then they move on. Weird noises start to play as the colors go inverted. Then the words help and evil interchange quickly on the screen as Jay asks about the freezing project. The very last frame of the flickering words, name father, code 4293013, appear on screen. There's still a weird noise, then another flash sequence happens. As Fred types it's going well, the words pain and life interchange on screen with a different filter. After a cut to black, we return to see that there are new messages. Largely just Fred saying he succeeded and how it's not perfect yet, but Jay being happy to hear it. Then Fred starts saying what Jay said doesn't make sense, even though it had been Fred's previous message saying it isn't ready yet. Jay says not to worry about it as Fred finds that white dot again. That dot is actually a redstone torch and grass block. But Jay isn't behind Fred. He's not typing anymore either. Fred keeps wandering looking for Jay and even threatening not to invite him to his house if he doesn't respond. He also says how his son really wanted to see him. He then gets angry and starts swearing at Jay, asking him if he took the iron door. Then goes forward and the screen goes gray with white text in the corner saying the maze isn't real. Then the video ends. This next video, I have no clue how anyone can see normally, as to my knowledge this was sent via DM. I will leave the link below for those who would like to see it, as there isn't really a puzzle or anything to access it normally. It's an 8-second long video that consists of weird hit sounds and a black screen. The description, however, translates to, F isn't the one who gave you this video, and this video wasn't destined to you either. Apparently there's a spectrogram that shows just the letter J. It is, according to the investigators, not really lore important, but to me it displays the bipolar nature of the character having J show up in the spectrogram, and some binary claiming F didn't send it and it wasn't destined for their eyes. This segment of the slideshow actually has some notes and a grand theory that will have a OneDrive link, but I'll acknowledge them later once we've truly seen everything, as there's still stuff that doesn't make sense without some context. The next actually public video is called Grief Over the Truth, with a base 16 code as the description. It comes out to being a poem. Once upon a time there lived a man, one with a fake smile, tainted with evil theme. He needed an outlet. Lucky for him, love came. He loved and loved so much that the miracle of life occurred. Eternal life was now near him. It was the worst mistake that God made. He used and used his kin until time froze and froze did his kin. The actual video starts with Fred giving us an introduction to episode 12 of his Let's Play with him playing with his kids. He mentions how he'll be playing alone today because Jay took them for a drive in his car. After a brief 2-frame flash, Fred calls out for someone named Victor. All of a sudden, Vodkaski T walks up to Fred, so now we know who Victor is. We then find out through Fred's confusion that Victor is his son, and it doesn't make sense how he's playing if he's supposed to be with Uncle Jay's car. Being 2013, crossplay wasn't a standard, so Fred tells him to respond or he'll get in trouble with his mom. Then Victor passed over a book that under U says, "It hurts." The screen inverts while the book is opened up and gets closed quickly. Fred says that Victor is scaring him and asks him to elaborate, and then Victor disappears. Not disconnects, but disappears. He tries to open the book again for the screen to only invert again. A few moments later, Fred types his question in chat of how he was playing at Jay's house, and how did he disappear? Was he hacking? After asking if Victor is trolling him, the screen goes inverted and then cuts to black. Cutting back, we can see clearer now how Victor is on an ice pillar. He questions Victor on his teleportation and odd abilities and yells at him for hacking. He jumps down, passes the book, and then vanishes.
Reading the book results in him seeing, "Please tell Uncle that it hurt." He then questions what Jay did and if he's hurting them. Throwing the book down results in a glitch and cut. During the cut, there's an odd noise, but after Fred is still looking for Victor and eventually finds him again. He has the book again, and when he passes it back to Fred, it now says, "It feels cold. Too cold. Dad, please help. It feels really cold. It really feels cold." Fred asks if he needs a medic and swears to him that he will beat Jay if he has hurt them. Victor only responds by handing him a red rose. The screen flashes darkly and Victor is gone. Fred says that he'll come back to pick him up and protect him, but that he doesn't understand why he's using Minecraft to communicate. Before Fred disconnects, a flash for a second on the screen says, "Liar." After a short cut, we cut to him still connected. The book then says, "Dad, don't disconnect." Victor appears and grabs the book, writing, "Please, Dad." He doesn't understand, but he won't disconnect. Then he disappears. Then Fred noticed the weird ice formation covering his house. It's nearly identical to the house from the very first episode. Then Fred notices a dark hallway and the screen bugs out as he tries to go down. Then we cut to a dark room where it's only Fred and Victor across from him. Victor disappears and leaves ice and some other item. As Fred moves forward, we get Jesus, Mary and Joseph, what the hell was that? The jump scares have been tame up until now, but that was just unfair. So what happened is that we switched to a camera recording the monitor screen and then these creepy ass eyes with a scream. Small text is in the left corner stating, "Same person." Brightening the screen for myself, it's possible to see 2 pairs of eyes, but I wouldn't be surprised if in post I could see 3 when I heightened brightness and contrast. Or it's just 2 and they represent the bipolarness of one of the characters. In the comments of the video, Deshy, one of the main investigators, says first letter / MMBAH, the acronym for the channel, and the channel gives this response. We trusted that man with the wicked smile was innocent, but a twisted face he hid, for in fact he froze his lament, by doing so his kin couldn't breathe. Couldn't move, couldn't act, in fact, they couldn't live. So to make up for it, he took them and hid them where they couldn't be found in the worst prison where electrical parts roamed in the end. They achieved immortality in eternal torment. The next video is a fraction of time, with a description asking, "Will you help us?" The video is public and starts in a real-life portion with a notebook written in nice handwriting. The video isn't transcribed by the investigators for some reason, so I'll read it out. You probably found that video in the family archive. Listen well. When you regain consciousness, 11 years will have passed. At first you'll be confused. Go to the computer near the desk, open Minecraft and start recording. There's a way for you to talk. A book in a chest to your right. Open it. Inside will be a link to a website where I've hidden every archive of that time. Upload your first video, then wait. The effective freeze will remain a bit longer. At least 1 month later. Explain that the previous video was an ARG in your second video. Then start wearing these Minecraft skins, or appear as normal players. I've made them myself. There is a lot going on right now. You must post all 31 videos of the archive. Refer to me as Jay. Hate me, even though you don't remember it. I've done something horrible to you. You'll loathe me the moment you remember, but please, you need to remember everything. If you do as I say, people will give you theories. I pray that one of them is true, because only then can I, as the worst human being, finally undo the harm of freezing my own kids. After that, the book fades to black. Then white text fades on. Trust can only be found in truth. There's also the comments section. 2 comments from the creator are base 2 and base 16 binary codes again. The binary translates to, "It doesn't make any sense, yet only the order was true." The base 16 is, "Spot the lies, the things that don't fit together." I'd also like to see that there's only one word I am not confident about transcribing of from the video, since I don't read cursive often. It's the part about I've something myself. I think it's I've made it myself, but there's not enough letters to make it make sense. If only there were a Google Slides that properly transcribed and not just said, "It's useful." Yes, I will keep making these jabs, and I understand the slides are a mess because the ARG investigators were doing this in an odd order, but come on, guys. The next video is Imaginary Depiction. The description is a bunch of weird symbols and words pushed together. According to the slides, with little explanation of how it was found, and other than Caesar cipher, we get this message. Really tried my best. wanted to be accepted by my own family. Victor never talked to me, and Alex is still a narcissist who only says me, 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 and never asks about us, about our family. I'll use my own project against them. I'll make them love me for eternity. They used the ASCII alphabet and shifted it 31 times through a Caesar cipher. I understand that I throw a lot of terms, and some commented that they don't know what they all are, so I'll explain it really quickly. ASCII is basically the alphabet of standard communication. It's 127 symbols long, including the alphabet, numbers, and symbols like the comma and period. A Caesar cipher is a form of encryption that has a message shifted through different letters. It kind of works like this. The word subscribe is spelt like this with a shift of 0. But if you shift that to, say, 12, then we get Igineodankyu. Yeah, that abomination. These ciphers can be pretty easily brute forced, so long as you know the alphabet it uses, and you can just keep shifting it. Now on to the next video though. The video starts with our recorder, holding a book, talking about their project. We can see in text chat that Father is calling for their recorder, exclaiming it's been 3 hours. The recorder writes how they don't want to meet Father though. Our recorder is also writing under him, likely the third brother. Father is now yelling in chat. He closes the book but doesn't get out of the chair, and seems to possibly be stuck for a moment. After a cut, we see Father near the entrance of the room with him writing. God, this wording is confusing. The father then calms down and says he always was like that. Him offers to show the project and the father agrees, but then yells no because he didn't come downstairs when called. There's a glitch, and for a brief frame you can see, where the f*** is that smile you always have while talking to my siblings? Him pulls out a paper from a chest that says Freeze Project. Then Father asks what it is. The recorder then says to at least read it. As the screen darkens, the text changes to, "This kid is scary. He can't be." The last word is hard to make out, but could be alone. There is also text on the bottom right saying, "Try to escape my hell." The next video is, coincidentally, hell. The description is Morse code, and the investigators have translated it to, "There's something Mr. X, something aimed here." What that means? No real clue. I got something similar when I tried as well, but I don't know. I usually mention the comment after, but under a random comment that says, "He took you away," the channel responds with, "Him took away Dad." So him has some grudge against Dad and took him away somehow, or stole him for himself. The video starts in a black wool room with a black wool tree. Standing behind it is a Steve skin named Victor. After jumping down a pit, he enters a room similar to the one from last time, but not quite the same. There's cobwebs and a dead bush, but Victor is also here. Victor types happy birthday. The recorder then opens the chest and finds an assortment of named items. The cobweb is I, the dead bush is our, the dandelion is manipulated, the rose is father, and the beacon is I used his weakness. The recorder grabs the book and quill and writes down as him thanking Victor. Victor asks, "So how was it?" And him replies with pretty fun. He says with him, he doesn't need to use the book since after she went away. Him says that he's glad he can trust Victor. After a long pause, he says, "Yeah, you can trust me." The screen quickly glitches to change the message to, "Yeah, keep talking like I give a shit." Then we can see a message from him saying, "Dad went strange after Mom died and the world reloads." Him is at lower health. Victor is behind the tree the last time holding a rose. Trying to go into the room yields him nothing twice, and on the second time, text appears in the left corner saying, "Let me die." The footage shifts to a recorder on the survival area where we can see a sign where one brother was on an ice patch, and next to it with a black wool pillar. As the player looks up, the screen fades. One thing I neglected to mention was that occasionally letters will flash for a second on the screen. Spelling the letters out you can lead to an unlisted YouTube video. The link is to the next video, Guess What It Is, with a description saying that this is the first test subject of Freeze. The video is only 20 seconds long. It starts with an AI voice saying, "Guess what it is." It's hard to make out the dark image with opera music in the background. Then the screen brightens to show a man with a bag tied around his head in what could either be an ice box or a closet. The voice is hard to make out, but the closed captions say, "This is Alex." That was pretty disturbing. The last frame is also very disturbing, showing 2 green eyes and a horrific decayed mouth. Likely Alex 11 years after the freezing. The next video is note://7 days remaining. with a simple description saying go back. The screen starts with a blue static, then green text saying, note, first layer broken, initializing second part, possession, Latin U. At the halfway point, opera music plays and we get a bunch of green scrolling text. So this was a step in the ARG that according to the investigators set them on a limited time to go back to the first video and find an Imgur link that had been posted. The same one about Dame and Freeze. This one right here. The next video is oldest of the archive with a description of, I saw someone in my Minecraft world. This video has our recorder be someone we've never seen before. Hads12. He greets the viewer with a Happy New Year saying, I guess the Mayans were wrong. So this must be January 2013. For those who don't know, the Mayan calendar ends at 2012 and many predicted that the world would end because it had ended. Looking at the calendar, they also may have been off by about 12 years. Who knows? Had says it's his first Minecraft Let's Play, but he already has a house and gear. They say since their dad and siblings started doing Let's Play videos, he would give it a shot. So I guess this is one of the brothers. It's strongly implied to be Dame, considering he isn't with his brothers or father's Let's Play. So that safely crosses out Fred, Jay, Victor, and likely Alex. He mentions how his dad didn't want him to join his server and didn't even buy Minecraft for him. But Mom did. She's the only one who showed him kindness. He describes her as smart and kind and willing to try and look for free Minecraft for him and all that. He then stops reminiscing and goes outside. He says he'll expand his house and starts digging. Then there's a glitch where someone is on the player's house, but it's hard to tell who. After the glitch, the player runs and towers onto a tree saying their Minecraft crashed, and they saw someone. After killing some cows, the video ends. According to the slides, that player can be seen in different parts of the video hidden. They also have a theory about his name, roughly looking like Hades, and the number 12 referring to the 12 Greek gods. This is off the top of my head, but Dame as a name reminds me of Damien, which I don't remember the symbolism, but if memory serves me correctly, Damien is often used as the name of a devil's son in some people's depictions. There's also the idea of the three sons, Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades. Hades being the often neglected or pushed aside child without a spot in Olympus, but rather his own realm, a hell named after himself. The symbolism idea is interesting to me because if we're going based on that, then the father must be representative of Kronos. But in Greek mythology, the mother saved Zeus and is kind to him, and tried to save him, but not Hades. Of course, for me, this is based on memory, but I think this could give us some clue as to what is going on and what's to come. Something I also just realized, Dame is left out of the description. The description of the channel is recording my 2 children, not 3. The next video is unlisted and titled Freeze Test Recording. The description says, we have managed to infiltrate the Effie family after several failures. We will use Dame to our ends. He hates his family and only wishes to be loved. He already possesses the intellectual capabilities required to manipulate his father and achieve our goals. We will infiltrate a part of his brain and only provide him with suggestions to complete our objective. However, be cautious. The father senses that something is amiss. If our project succeeds, the other 2 children will awaken in 11 years. They must not regain their memory. Otherwise, we will fail. So this recording seems to be from some other third party, but let's watch the video. The screen opens to what seems like an old monitor setup with an EPA Energy Pollution Preventer logo on the right, and on the left, information that's opening a system. It seems to largely be reading from some computer information, then for the last few seconds of the video, there's a closet. On a single frame from the transition, we can see Fred Effie, frozen, Victor Effie, frozen, Alex Effie, frozen, Dame Effie, possessed. No mother or Jay. The next video is What Started It, with a description that translates to, I don't know who the person at the end was. The video starts from the same world that Hads was in. He's introducing this as his first Minecraft video, reintroducing most of the concepts as last time, like his mom, her kindness, and that this is his first video. Odd. He seems to be curious when he sees the other wooden pillar from last time. Even though he had made it for escape, he then questions if he did and says he doesn't remember it. He says today he will expand his territory and a player's name tag can be seen through the house's door. It's nearly impossible to tell who it is, but my guess is Vodkaski since the username looks a bit longer. Or it could be someone else. He then starts breaking grass and trying to build up a chest room as his expansion. We see him first start to plan his build, but then he sees a wooden plank dropped on the ground, so he picks it up and then starts to build more sporadically and quickly. They then make a remark hoping to find coal. That's an odd thing to type in chat unless you were trying to lure someone to a different idea of where you are, or just weirdly thinking out loud. After building the house, Had says how his mom is going on a trip in 2 months and how he was actually the one to pay for it. They pause after leaving their house and hear some grass break. They seem to try looking for the noise but don't find it. Then they say that their key was stuck. Same man, same. Then they start to walk, and after getting to a river say, "Ugh, alright, I'll dig one." Again? I'm pretty sure I remember. They're talking and responding to themselves. Then they say "I" in chat a few times and stare at the ground until it's night. They question how it got dark and then walk back home. After getting home and falling asleep, we can see white text in the right corner as we hear a glass breaking noise. That will be our next secret video. But the player wakes back up in front of their house with no items. However, their chest house is still built. They hear another ice breaking noise from when they slept, and the screen glitches and they see an ice block. Then they start walking weird. The very last frame has an inverted scene coming up to a player named Amicum Tim, meaning your friend in Latin. Thank you, investigators. He says, "Let's become one." So this seems to be where Dame was possessed. And the last video for what the investigators dub as part 1 is the secret video link from the previous video titled "We Are in Danger." The video is mostly black with opera music in the background, but at the end is a black plastic bag in a closet seemingly breathing. The description states, "The father cornered us. Before leaving, he left instructions in the book that Dame was using to finalize our project. The instructions reached his 2 other children. He made them use Minecraft and ARG to reveal us to the world. They have recovered part of their memory. Our attempts to corrupt their world, modify videos, and insert multiple lies on the channel using Dame were not enough. Some of these people saw through our lies. We must be cautious. They see through us. If they reach 50% unfreeze, we will no longer be able to modify the videos and insert our lies. If that happens, our entire project will be exposed. Damn theorists." The song in the background is Nessun Dorma, an Italian opera song. The title name in Italian means "I desire that nobody should sleep." Interesting choice. So this next part is where, not a problem per se, but a hurdle comes in. Vodkaski T. Now, you may be wondering, what's wrong with that? He's just one of the characters. Here's the problem. Vodkaski is a real channel with actual videos, and some relate to the MMBAH mystery, as the investigators so lovingly call it, but... Okay, I'm fine. Luckily, I can just give cliff notes for this, but they are either very inconsequential or just non-canon. I'll leave the channel down there, but they are only an actor and not the creator, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't bother them over it. There's just some codes and ARGs and phrases, but it has been declared non-canon, so yeah. Now we get into part 2 of the Me and My Brother and Him ARG. The first video of part 2 is what happened. The description says, "How did Dame manage to get rid of his possession? What happened? What did we miss? Why is he helping his brothers? I'm about to flee into the forest near the lab. I'll keep the camera on me to film everything that might happen to me. Sophia, my daughter, your daddy had a very nasty job. He did experiments on children your age. Listen, if daddy doesn't come home for your birthday, it's okay. Just tell yourself that your daddy was a bad man. I'm sorry." The video is a blue screen with the IR Transhumanism logo with an infinity symbol. The video opens and explains it's a message for the IR employees. The unfreeze surpassed 50%. They've lost control. It says how they were using D to be sure subjects V and A don't escape. Dame, Victor, and Alex. Then it quickly flashes with, "Dame was freed. He is betraying us. Run!" Then the screen flashes red. The red screen then has text saying, "I'll take care of my bros from now on. Thanks. I'll also take care of you. Each one of you. And you, the one reading this. Thanks for reminding me, my bros, of what they forgot." The screen goes black for a moment before they see gray, shaky footage of someone running through a forest. When it turns green, the footage glitches. The last frame poses a question. Should all employees die for their crimes? I really like the transition of blue to red. It's an interesting dichotomy because in our perspective, blue is the evil company, but Dame, or who we assume is Dame, is the red perspective. So that's a very interesting use of color shifting. The next video is called Hate, with another weird ASCII description. It's a Caesar cipher shift where you can use the number 9 for the 9 rings of hell. At least that's what we theorize. It translates to, I'll use her to set myself free and walk toward the path of flight too. The video has a player in a flat field walk through some grassy path. Remember what that yellow dandelion means? Manipulation. There are only yellow dandelions in grass. After going through this clear loop of grass, the player passes a lit spruce tree with a rose with text on the top right saying, I regret it, but I'm not free yet. I need someone from the inside. I think this could either be Dame trying to get free, trying to look for someone else in the simulation, or Fred trying to apologize, trying to find a substitute for Dame. But this clearly shows he's trying to escape, but there's someone who needs something before he does. Then more red roses start to gradually appear through the path. Then, a house. While looking at the house, there's a weird noise with a picture saying family showing up, and we can see this little circle showing the relationship of the family. A new player then joins the game, Sozofi. Our recorder walks into the empty house and finds them. The video fades to black, then, oh, look what I found. We see then the Latin words from before, Amican tomb, hiding in the forest. We could see another image of a forest, then this image that vaguely looks like an entity flying over a forest. It's hard to tell though. The last video as of writing the script is making it worse, with a description stating, tortured souls will stay tortured in a worst form. The footage is black and white in a forest. The video has the camera move sporadically at some points. Eventually the camera stops. Color slowly comes to focus when it's a sudden cut to a black and white Minecraft world. A figure starts coming out of a hole in the ground. The name tag? Alex. Alex comes close to the recorder, assumedly Dame, but then it cuts to a picture of a small boy with reversed audio, then a jumble of letters at the very last frame. According to the investigators, that audio comes out to, what do you think of my new body? They guessed that it was depicted in Minecraft because the body had likely been there for 11 years. Decomposing and rotting. That's why the Alex was a question mark. He's so decomposed it's hard to tell if it's him or Victor. So, they may not have wanted to show that in person. There's also this jumble of letters at the end. IAW4EWP. Putting that code at the end of an Imgur link displays an image of 2 couches and some chairs and tables in a blank white room with some plain doors, likely being a test room of some kind by IR. Then there's a hexadecimal code below that works as its description. Why did you bring them back, Dame? You thought you could atone for your sins? Look at them. Do they look like your brothers? No, they're corpses with a tortured brain inside of them. Do you even have any idea of what you just did? I'm not sure that was a scientist or the experimenters, but I think that this might have been Fred, Dame's dad. Now, what does all this mean? Well, I'm not 100% certain. This ARG is still in progress, and we have a lot of missing answers. However, we need to wrap this up. So, what is the Me, My Brother, and Him ARG? Well, thankfully, the investigators have given me access to their grand theory, a 3-page Word document that is 33% memes, so with the aid of that and my current knowledge, let's do this one more time. This ARG is the story of the Effie family. A father named Fred, a loving mother, and 3 sons, Dame, Victor, and Alex. In 2012, when Dame's father had bought Minecraft, he had also bought it for his other 2 sons, Victor and Alex, but not Dame. However, their mother found Dame a free version of Minecraft, even when his father wouldn't. Dame is the black sheep of the family. He's noted as being more intelligent than the others and having a talent for coercion against his father. Considering his disdain for his narcissistic brother and father, he's angered that he seems to be ignored. The channel description even says, my 2 sons, not 3. Fred decides to start a Let's Play with his sons when they bought Minecraft and have fun on a private server. Without Dame. This makes him upset, so in retaliation he makes up his own survival Let's Play. He picks up the name Hades12, likely a reference to Hades, the forgotten brother of the Big 3 in Greek mythology. The brother pushed aside into his own hell, as we see later. In the meantime, a company named as IR Transhumanism wants to use a process called freezing on the family. Their attempts to try it on the family have failed previously due to Fred's interference. However, they are able to manipulate Dame before the death of his mother in 2013. Dame gets possessed somehow by this company and starts the freeze project and convinces his dad to use it on his brothers. He was hesitant and a bit disgusted by it, but eventually uses it. This apparently made Fred go mad and create a split personality, that being Jay. Previously, in his mind, Fred had let the kids go on a car ride with Jay, and there seems to be an accident. But this is just an element of symbolism, as it's what Fred believes what happened. But the sons know it didn't. Victor and Alex, by Dame's suggestion, were frozen by Fred and kept within the game world, in a suspended reality. We know that it's a gruesome process, likely throwing away the body after it had started decaying, to keep the brain in a suspended state of frozen animation. We saw in the video how there was a bag encapsulating Alex's head. Maybe the car accident was a fabrication by Fred on the Jay side of his mind, so that it could excuse his actions to his own sons. But it doesn't matter. Dame is possessed, and everyone else is frozen. But before he could be properly frozen, Fred wrote his last message to the boys in a book and quill, a way that they could help regain their memories 11 years in the future. 2024. This explains the first two videos being modern Minecraft and everything else being older. The rest are archives, or some recreations within the simulation, some before. However, Fred is still in the simulation, but with this movie has somehow reawakened Dame. Dame, in the hate video, is stuck in a foggy grass circle. He's being led by manipulation dandelions, but there's still a Father Rose in the middle of the circular path with a spruce tree, a tree lending out to an escape. Dame sees it but is still looking for something. He's looking for revenge for what has happened to his brothers through his possession. He vows to take out the experimenters who put his brothers through this pain. The pain we can see in the last video as Alex rises from the grave, a brother 11 years decomposed but his brain still painfully alive. The freezing process has allowed him to reanimate into a walking corpse. Then Dame brings them back home where they record the videos their father told them to make. Either it is the scientist who Dame chases down or his own father. They ridicule Dame for bringing back his brothers from the grave, as they are now husks of what they once were with tortured brains and souls. In the meantime, Dame sets his sights on the head experimenter's daughter, Sophia, who he pushed into possession. Dame had previously set his sights on the head experimenter's daughter, Sophia, who he pushed his possession onto to be able to escape. And that's what we have for now. I have my own ideas and questions and theories for parts of it, but that's the stories as we have it. Some points I'd like to bring up quickly for ideas and theories. One popular idea is actually that Dame is an illegitimate child. The idea is that Dame is ridiculed and shunned because he is the child of another man, either before or during the marriage, causing the hatred from Fred. Now, this is all just a guess with no exact proof. Another one I want to touch on is Fred's job. I don't think Dame created the freeze idea. It was likely the thing that possessed him, but at the very least, Fred finished it. It's so weird how it seems to exchange hands a few times, but I think that Fred may have actually created it. Now, whether this was through his split personality or something else is completely out of my scope of exploration. But what if he had a hand in developing the process? Why else would his family be the target of the freeze project? I feel like Fred has to be connected with this in some larger scope, because in the 2 persons 1 body video, he said he had finished his project, but it wasn't quite perfect. I don't know, it's very muddy, but I feel like it could be possible. Anyway, that's where we stand with the MMBAH mystery. I have my own theories of where this story could go, some curl of the monkey's paw, but I'm still largely clueless. I have all the information, all the codes and images and names, but as of now, it's ongoing and still very mysterious. I'd love to hear your theories in the comments below. Massive thank you to Deshy and their invitation to the RGN sub-community working to solve this mystery. Without them, I would 100% have gotten a ton of information wrong. Special thanks to investigators 66H, V2, JBRW, Shimmering Stars, Dottie CH, Whiffies, Cheetos, Barney Calhoun, Doreen, and Leon Club 239. I'm just reading the credits. I only really talked to like 5 of these people, but their work in decrypting this ARG is still greatly appreciated.
Hey, so yeah, that right there, that was all kind of a lie. I'm butting in now because we actually have the end of the ARG. The channel has given us 3 last videos. I'm really trying to be brief, but we all know that's difficult for me. The first video of our final trio is titled Face Your Sin. The description says, I didn't really want any of that. The first part of the video is this weird black and white visual with reversed audio of a woman. Don't worry, we'll get to that in a moment. Then there's opera music cutting to a picture of a boy with some reversed audio. The final cut is to a radio in plain English. I'll let it play here.
Appearances around the IR are occurring one after another. Following the incident with the family of Department Head Fred, another incident has occurred. a woman who worked as a researcher at the IR was found dead at her home, her lifeless body with a gaping hole in her skull. The police, having made the mistake of investigating, discovered that the woman no longer had a brain inside her.
Well, that's gruesome. But my theory was right. Fred worked for IR, and I think that woman before may be the researcher who done the experiments on Dame, Victor, and Alex. Possibly. Her brain now undergoing the torturous freezing process. For the reverse section, I'll play you the audio re-reversed and add some subtitles so you can tell what they're saying.
Please stop knocking. I also have a daughter, you know? Her name is Sophia. She recently went missing. Can you... Alex, Victor, you have the right to be mad. But please, I don't want to die. Please just stay where you are. I'm sorry, alright?
So, that seems to tie up the loose end of what happened to Sophia, but now we can also understand just how competent they are as corpses, and how dangerous they were. The next two videos are unlisted, but appear as a title card at the end of this one. The shortest is .unfreeze equals 100%. The video is just black with some background humming, but the description is what we really want. Alex and Victor, or rather their corpses and tortured spirits, have been completely unfrozen. They have regained 100% of their memories and abilities. All the torture they endured resurfaced at once. They used their bodies, which had become the dream of the IR immortal bodies, to kill every employee, founder, and scientist. The screams of that night were forever etched in the world's memory. Indeed, Alex and Victor became anomalies. Strange, often frightening things who roam and kill indiscriminately. They, who once formed a normal, imperfect family, are now bloodthirsty creatures. That should be pretty self-explanatory for the ending of the two brothers. And our last video is looking up for above the cloud. The description is, Alex and Victor didn't have much longer to exist. They were practically dead already. The theorists had refused to continue the unfreezing to 100%. It took only a few hours after their last murder for them to collapse and decay in turn. In the end, everyone had a sin or two. Whether it was Fred, Dame, Alex, Victor, or even the IR, they were all people, all imperfect, each with their own purpose. The video is in Minecraft, or at least depicted in Minecraft. Father is staring at the sky as it goes by. He says, "The fault is yours. You should have expected it. You didn't have to face the guilt alone. I'm sorry for not being a good father. It's alright." Then our player writes, "At least I get to spend an eternity with you." Sent by player Dame Effie. The last part of the video has white text fade on saying, "The guilt is everywhere." Since these are the last videos from the channel with a second teased ARG set in the same universe, I look forward to what this channel has to offer. I leave these last three videos for you to come to your own conclusion. They could be split endings, they could be alternate realities, but who knows? That's our choice to make. Before I let the original outro go, I just want to say it's been really funny to see this stupid rap beef between the fans of MMBAH and this other guy. They're all AI raps to diss each other, and it's a level of petty I have to respect. And one of the people wanted me to play their rap, so here's a portion of it. It'll also play in the background of the next section. But yeah, that's this segment done and over with. Back to the original outro.
And thank you to Me, My Brother, and Him creator. Well, we don't know who it is, but thank you very much. This ARG was super cool. I think that, yes, it was generic in the beginning, and I did get a little bored throughout the beginning because, oh, it's a ghost in the machine thing. I actually think the use of the transhumanism organization was actually a really interesting way to spice up this ARG, and also a really cool explanatory object of the story that can help explain why they're in the machine. It's almost always possession of some mysterious force in these ARGs, but it's never explained. I really like the idea of the freezing mechanism. While it's still a weird but gruesome process, I think it's a great object of horror that really makes the series super interesting and unique. Even though its general idea is very non-unique, I think its explanation is really neat. So yeah, to the creator who's hopefully watching this, please keep making this ARG. I think your story is incredible so far. I really like it. Obviously, the beginning was slow, but that's also on purpose to throw people off of the ARG. And if you do have any interest in this ARG, please watch the channel. I just think that they're a great watch. And if you enjoyed this video, there are many more on the channel like it. These are some of my personal recommendations. And if you like more casual playthroughs, try these here. But for videos like this, I mean, if you're into this kind of dystopian, really long video, check out my video on Vindictive Drive. It's a really cool RPG that I kind of wish more people would watch. I'm not trying to pressure you, but if you really do enjoy this style, I would recommend checking out Vindictive Drive. I'm pretty proud of it. Yeah. Anyway, per usual, I will take the rest of the time out of the video to talk about the channel, so click off if you aren't really interested. Thank you all so goddamn much for the privilege of being monetized. I'm glad I can now create content and have a way to put more money, energy, and quality into productions. I know that you didn't really feel that on this one, probably since the audio is a bit lackluster. In the beginning, there was a sound of a fan that I wasn't able to turn off for a few days, and probably some other background sounds, but it's because I'm not in my normal, filming location? I've been trying to use different methods to fix the audio. My Portal Stories Mel video seemed really unenthusiastic when I re-listened to it because of the method I tried to use. It really deadened the volume of my voice. I'm trying to find new methods and ways to record it so that it sounds good. I even bought this pop filter, which I hope fixes the issue slightly. But yeah, I'm trying to fix everything. I would also love to work on other different styles of content. There's just so many things I want to try and do. And I also recently got inspired by DanTDM's new Let's Play idea, with less editing and more just casual conversation and progression. Just a return to form. I still like it. And no people prefer this style of content. I intend to keep making them. I'd like to stream someday, but that likely won't be for a while, considering my capabilities at the moment, and I have a bunch of games I want to do in an episodic style, like Fallout New Vegas, and a bunch of other games. I'll see how you guys like the tutorial Minecraft series first, though, because that's the style I intend for episodic stuff. Games like Evil Genius 2, YouTuber's Life, because I have a lot of nostalgia for that one, Subnautica, and maybe even Undertale. I just love to do those narration mixed with footage style videos. I don't know. I also eventually want to do the full Half-Life series, including the Opposing Force game too. I know not everybody's enthusiastic for it, but I don't know, it interests me. Also the whole Half-Life Tower 2, but I already mentioned that in the previous one. I just have a bunch of ideas floating around that I really want to do. But the style I want to do may take more time and effort, and I still don't know how everyone would like it. Anyway, yeah, that's for everything so far. I hope we continue down this path, and I hope I continue to make at least decent videos. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Due to special request from Deshy, I will try to play an original track from the ARG called 11 Years of Silence. And it's a very nice song. Thank you again, Deshy, and the RGN sub-community, and the creator of the Me, My Brother, and Him ARG. You and your team, and even the creator, have been incredibly helpful. But it's been me, Mush. Comments, criticisms, and suggestions are always welcome and appreciated, and I will see you later. Arrivederci.